Okay, and what the fuck? I have hands now. The app I use for my VTuber model seems to have updated. Oh, this is bad for someone that talks with their hands while behind the camera. This is gonna be a fun video. This is gonna be great. Hello everyone, welcome to another Grimgar video. Today we're gonna talk about what Mary's stats would be if she was in a D&D campaign, because you guys voted this one in, and I'll be honest, this one's probably gonna be the hardest stats to get for these characters. Mary was technically a higher level than Haru's entire team was when they met her. And I've mentioned this before in other videos, but there's no actual stats in Grimgar's world. It's all physical, you know, training and shit like that. There's no actual video game stats behind this. But I'm going to take Mary as a character, look at her achievements and things she has done in the story, and translate that into actual D&D stats. Also, due to the fact that she's a higher level than everyone else. Yes. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I itched my head and this happened. This means that essentially I have to go into her before she meets Haruhiro in Grimgar to actually come up with her stats. I will be taking certain things from when she was by herself, which, by the way, there is an actual bonus volume called Volume 14 Plus that goes into Mary's experiences in all the months after her team died and before she met Haruhiro. Which, oh boy. This girl's she's just gone through a lot of shit. A lot of shit that they don't tell you in the anime or the light novel unless you read these bonus volumes. Because, dear God, Mary is probably also one of the only few characters in Haruhiro's team that you might be surprised about has really good stats. But before we begin this video, please hit the like button, share, tell me in the comments down below what you guys think of these stats and what you would give Mary if she had D&D stats. And do not forget to check out my previous videos, especially when I started the whole thing earlier with Ranta's character stats, because it goes into a lot more detail of how these stats actually work. And my hand is flipping the I'm keeping my hand very still right now. I didn't move that hand. You put that back down. Put that back down. Let's begin, just like the other characters, with physical strength. Mary's physical strength's flat out, they're just average. To her, in terms of physical strength, she doesn't really do anything to prove that she's physically stronger than anyone else or physically incapable. She's just basically can carry her own weight. She never really does anything crazy physically strong. I literally couldn't find anything in any of the bonus volumes. I couldn't find anything in the first volume. She's just bonks the shit out of goblins with her staff. I know that in the light novel and in the anime, actually, it is heavily implied that she's essentially her original party's version of Monato. So you would expect her to have similar stats, essentially. We know that when she was with her original party, she was in the front line just as much as all the tanks, funny enough. She was out there fighting with everyone and healing everyone and actually going toe-to-toe with people, apparently. And there's no indication that she ever had much trouble. She was always smiling and happy and always fighting with the tanks in the front. And honestly, if they gave us more feats of Mary in the front line with her tanks, I would probably give her a higher strength stat. But unfortunately, they don't actually give it to us. So this is probably going to be the fastest one because it's just a 10 or 11. Honestly, if you want to be nice, give her an 11. But I just give her a 10. Dexterity. Mary's dexterity is honestly able to often hit large targets. You rarely ever see Mary miss when she uses her staff to bonk people. And if she ever does decide to use an offensive spell, as far as we're aware, we've never actually seen her miss a spell or bonking anybody with her staff, at least in the first couple volumes and in the bonus volumes. But she doesn't do anything crazy. She's not like as fast as Ranta. Hell, she's not even as fast as like Yume or Haruhiro. The primary reason why we don't ever actually see her do anything with physical strength or dexterity is because she's primarily, in the first light novels at least, focused on protecting Chihiro in the backline, and she'll hit anybody who gets near her. But she does, at the most part at least, hit pretty much everyone who gets near her. So since she's never at least missed any large targets, I'll at the most give her a 13. And unfortunately, I can't actually give her a 14 or 15, specifically because in the first light novel, and actually in the anime, you see this too, she gets hit with a knife that is a surprise attack, and she actually does not dodge it. In a 14-15, it is stated that you can catch or dodge a medium speed surprise projectile, which she does not do, actually. So she can't go any higher than that. Constitution. Listen, I gotta give it to Mary. She's actually tough as shit. Mary was one of the only survivors of her party, which is only just 2. And as is stated in the light novel and in the anime, she was in the front line with the tanks. This implies that she was in the front lines while fighting Death Spot, and she didn't die. Granted, she might have been in the back line in that fight, specifically healing people because they were all dying, but there are no actual big feats to actually go off of that. I just thought I'd mention that one thing, because the thing that carries Mary to actually around, fucking just ridiculous, around 14 or 15 is in volume 14 plus, when Mary escapes a bunch of, how do I put this so YouTube doesn't fucking demonetize me? Scary R words off in the wild. She escapes them after smacking a couple of them and then running off into the woods. She spent the next couple days running until she got to the city. It is heavily implied that she barely took any rests until she got to the city. Then she basically probably passed out, honestly. And Constitution 14 to 15 says, able to labor for 20 hours. Mary was moving at minimum a couple days. Now, I'm gonna be honest, she probably wasn't running the entire time, but she was on the move for days. She also survives, at least in the anime, getting shot in the back, probably near the lung area, by a crossbow bolt. Yes, she was able to heal herself, but she didn't pass out from the immediate pain, and she stayed completely conscious. In the light novel, this is actually a little more impressive. In the anime, she fell into Chihiro's arms, but in the light novel, she straight up got stabbed in the fucking kidney by a fucking knife that was thrown at her, and she stayed standing up. This also happens in the manga too, by the way. She then immediately healed herself, but like, Jesus Christ, woman. So I'd be willing to give her at least a 14 in Constitution. Intelligence, let's start her off at 10 to 11. Knows what they need to know to get by. Mary's actually very tapped into, like, the Grimgar world, and she actually does know quite a lot, actually. At least in terms of, like, the main town and the main problems of, like, being a person in Grimgar. Out of all of them, she probably knows more about the world than the rest of the party does. She knows about kobolds, she knows about goblins, she knows about party composition. So funny enough, I'd actually give her at 12 or 13. And honestly, I think I'd give her 13 because at 12 or 13, it says knows a bit more than is necessary, fairly logical. That is very much Mary. Well, she's fairly logical until you start talking to her about romance. Somebody left out some important information to Hadahiro after he lost his memory. And I'm not okay with it. And she's actually around the same intelligence level as Hadahiro, at least when Hadahiro gets his shit together. And none of the other levels above that or below sound anything like Mary. I think I'd keep her around 12 or 13. If I'm being honest, I think I'd give her 13. She's fairly intelligent. Wisdom. I'm starting her off at 16 to 17. Reads people and situations fairly well. Did I mention that she was stuck in the woods off in the mountains with a group of hard, scary R words, and she read the situation for what it was and immediately put herself together, knocked them the fuck out, and ran away. She was able to figure this out before she fell asleep and overheard them talking. And she got the fuck out of there. And also in the same light novel, after she gets away from the scary R-word people, does meet Hadahiro and his party. And she is able to break each of them down mentally and really understand each of them just by hanging out with them for a little bit. She pretty much understands them pretty quickly. She flat out understands that Hadahiro is not dependable, which, to be fair, at that time, he wasn't. She pegged Yume for being airheaded. Ranta's a fucking idiot. Mugizu was slow and kind of dim-witted and just very shy, and she was able to figure this out really quickly just from their first hunt. She also knew that she couldn't leave them alone because, let's be honest, now they probably would die. And later on, when she does eventually get accustomed to their party, Hadahiro does actually ask her for some advice here and there. So this might actually put Mary at 18 or 19, often used as a source of wisdom or deciding of actions. So at least I could probably put her at 18, at most a 19, which I believe is the highest actual stat I've given to a character in these videos, which is kind of surprising, actually. You can definitely argue that she's instead of 17, but you guys can let me know in the comments down below. Personally, I'd give her an 18. And finally, charisma. This one is going to be annoying to actually figure out because Mary is full of fucking trauma. Mary early on in Grimgar, before she met Hot Heroes Party, was the most charismatic ass person ever. She was beloved by everyone, and all the people wanted to get to know her. She was approached constantly by people on the street. The problem is, when she meets Harihiro, she cannot have a polite conversation. And at bare minimum, 10 to 11 is capable of polite conversation. But when she meets Harihiro in her party, clearly she's not able to do that. That is due to trauma, however, and if you ignore that and actually read the rest of them, 16 to 17, popular, receiving greetings and conversations on the street. And this is where it gets kind of weird. Because technically, yes, a lot of people, especially guys, try to talk to Mary quite often, especially before she meets Harihiro's party. She's actually very well known in Alterna as Scary Mary because of the faces she makes at people to leave her alone. This is started specifically because people kept coming up to her and annoying the shit out of her so damn much. Now, this scowl was specifically done because of trauma, but this is one of the things that she is very well known for. And considering how many parties Mary was in before she joined Harihiro's party, she has to be fairly popular as a healer. Mary is also the most intimidating motherfucker ever. And you actually apparently need pretty high charisma for that. 9 times out of 10, when she talks to someone and she wants to get her way, she usually does. However, wants her to be in front line, she tells him to fuck off, and he basically accepts it. And at the very lowest I could give her is a 14 or 15 because she knows what to say to the right people to get them to do what she wants. She wants Ronto to shut up. She basically tells him off real quick, and he shuts the fuck up. He's actually very scared of Mary. And yeah, so this is where the stats and the story kind of again clash a bit. Mary, when you do get to know Mary, she's actually very polite and very kind. But because she doesn't want people to get close to her, she acts like, well, a little bitch. And this is on purpose, because she's very closed off and doesn't want people to get close to her. Once she does actually open up, she's extremely polite, and when she wants to get something from someone, she's actually very, very good at talking to people. Mary is actually very charismatic and very good at talking when she needs to. And to get these stats, I have to actually think about Mary before she met Harihiiro and before she was really, you know, in a bad place. And everyone loved the shit out of Mary. Her party always talked about how incredibly awesome she was. She always had a smile. She was the life of the party. At the very least, I can give her a 14 because at least she knows how to talk to people and get them to do what she wants. And at the most, I can give her a 17. But if you want to be really mean to Mary and focus on her time strictly without a hero and the description of level 10 to 11, she's probably around somewhere of an 8 to 9 in charisma if you want to go by that specifically. For the sake of the video, let's go with 17. But these are Mary's D&D stats. Jesus Christ, she's actually pretty good. Especially for a freaking healer. But anyway, that's my video. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to check the poll to see what character I make D&D stats for next. Also, please do not forget that I have a Twitch and a gaming page here on YouTube if you want to watch me stream some video games. Links to those are in the description. Anyway, bye. Can I say bye with my hand? Oh, there it is. Goodbye. Hey, get the fuck down. No, I'm not using you.